Regular listeners to this podcast know that biohacking is a big theme. I mean, it's obviously something I've been into for 5 or 6 years. I think I first went to the Biohacking conference in LA in 2015, was it, or 2016? And had a lot of guests who were into biohacking. I know this podcast doesn't have the word biohacking in the title, but it is something that we like to do to optimize our health and wellness. And today's guest is at least as much into it as I am, probably more. He started the Health Optimization Summit in this country as well. And today's podcast is all about biohacking and frozen veg. I'm Tony Wright and this is Zestology. It's the podcast all about energy and vitality. And today, my mate and legend, Tim Gray, aka at Tim Biohacker on Instagram, is on. On the agenda, number one on the agenda, TMG. Is it a miracle supplement? Number two, blender wars. Thermomix versus Ninja. Who wins? Number three, 7 different types of magnesium. Discuss. And number 4, a guided tour of Tim's biohacker's lair. Lovely. I've got to tell you that the first thing to tell you is, why is this podcast called Biohacking and Frozen Veg? And that is because we started off talking about number 1 on my agenda, which was TMG. Is it a miracle supplement or not? And the reason that we wanted to talk about this is because Tim and I have been chatting, and I know he takes TMG, and so do I. And I really like it, and it is Tim's probably favourite supplement. So why is it so good? And what is it? What is trimethylglycine? I think I got that right. Unfortunately, I don't have the newest of phones, and we recorded this as an Instagram live, so we were kind of envision streaming it on Instagram at the same time. I've only done this a couple of times before, and my phone just can't hack it. And I now know that, and it just completely overheated and shut down. So the Instagram live shut down, everybody watching left and went and did something else, and my phone overheated. And when I came back, I managed to cool it down with the help of frozen veg, which I then held on the back of my phone for the rest of the interview, and it worked absolutely fine. So that's why it's called Biohacking and Frozen Veg, and that is why you will not hear us talking about TMG on this episode, because that bit Instagram deleted, but the rest of it's kept. And this interview is also on my Instagram page if you want to check it out there. We'll do another podcast, or maybe a little mini podcast about TMG in the future, but we do talk about the other things on our agenda. And you'll also hear us talking quite a bit about magnesium and about Magnesium Breakthrough in this podcast. My podcast partners, very pleased to partner up with them. And remember, if you want more details on them, you can head to biooptimizers.co.uk and use the code Zestology10 at checkout. That's if you're in the UK, and anywhere else, North America, anywhere else, go to magbreakthrough.com/Zestology. So 2 places you can go, and use the code Zestology10 wherever you go, and you'll get a good chunk of change off, at least 10% and sometimes up to 40%. So that's good. And it's interesting that Tim uses Magnesium Breakthrough as well, because I've been using it for a while. I'm a big fan of magnesium in general, and that one, and it's good to know that he uses it as well, because he tends to test things fairly rigorously. So look, the audio, I know I did this a few weeks ago as well. The audio is not quite as optimal as it normally is on this podcast, because we recorded it as an Instagram live. I've learnt my lesson on this. I'm going to have to get a new phone if I do any more like this. But it is also quite a fun format, and Tim was able to kind of walk around and show me things in his house as we walked as well. He's clearly got a better phone than I have, and I need to upgrade. But anyway, here he is, Tim Biohacker on Zestology. Hello again. May well have lost quite a few followers there on that video that I was doing with Tim. You're not going to believe this. It's so hot, my phone just overheated and said it's an emergency situation and you can't use your iPhone to Instagram. So I am now, this is absolutely no joke, I'm holding my phone next to some frozen food I've just got out of the fridge. Absolutely ridiculous. Hello, Anthony King. Thanks for joining again. Sorry about that. It's annoying, isn't it? I mean, hopefully Tim's still there and still around, because he was just giving us a little demo on his... He may well be still demoing the Thermomix, but let's see how we go. Yeah, so I may well need to upgrade this phone at some point, but I am literally holding some frozen veg to my iPhone and it is quickly cooling it down, I hope, and that is going to do the trick. But otherwise this is going to be an abortive Instagram live mission. So on the agenda we've chatted about TMG and I hope it's still there. And we can talk about Thermomix as well. It's a bit gutting because a lot of people are watching and they've got. But anyway, Tim, you there?
Yeah, you lost your signal, mate.
I tell you what it was. My phone is set. I mean, we are recording this obviously on the hottest day ever in London. And my phone suddenly said, "It is. You are too hot. Emergency use only. You've got to cool down." So I've had to run to the freezer, and I'm holding some frozen veg on my phone as we talk.
You beauty.
I know. I mean, it's quite cold on my hand, but I can do that. It's a kind of a mini Wim Hof situation.
Nice. So, I'll stick the aircon on.
Perfect. Yeah. So listen. My hand will continue to get cold, but hopefully at least the phone will be all right now. So sorry for losing you there. You were just in the middle of explaining your Thermomix. Now, do remember that most people will be listening to this, not watching it, in the unique dual format that I'm trialing out, which isn't going that well at the moment because we've already lost signal. But yeah, so if you can explain it for people listening as well, that'd be awesome.
Yes, the Thermomix is a blender. Well, I'll tell you what it does, actually. It's a beautiful blender. It's a German machine. It's got scales. It's got a blender. It's got a slow cooker. It's got a sous vide. It's got a kettle. It can do fermenting. It can do rice cooker. And you can make sauces in it. And essentially, you can do everything in it. Everything. Like, you can go onto it and you can click on the screen, which I'll show you for those that are watching. You can go, okay, I want to do salmon. Oh, it's not connected to the internet at the moment because Virgin is down at the moment. So it won't connect.
I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can see if there's any history here I've done in the past. But basically, yeah, so let's go. So I'm not.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I go, okay, baked penne with vegetables. Not that I would ever eat that, but it's here. So it goes, here's the instructions. It tells you it's easy, takes 10 minutes, total time 1 hour 5, 6 portions. Here's all the ingredients and the instructions for it. And then you go, okay, I want to cook this. So you click start cooking, and it starts telling you the instructions, and it beeps to tell you when the next thing's ready. So you can make chef quality food just from on-screen instructions. I obviously make ice cream in it because it's got 2 horsepower, the motor, so it's extremely powerful. You can do steamed fish, so I've got a fish attachment which goes on the top like this, so you can put a piece of fish in and steam it. Yeah, you can, as I say, make ice cream, like just everything. Soups, proper soups. You put the vegetables in, you steam them, you then put them in the blender and turn them into a beautiful soup with no additives or anything, and everything's super quick. So yeah, and also obviously it's got built-in scales, which is a great feature for it. So yeah, so that's the Thermomix.
Tim, this is a wonderful Instagram live. I'm loving your explanation. Somebody's delivering something at the same time. Yeah, thanks.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Is it your Thermomix?
It's not my Thermomix because I found something 18 times cheaper that I think works almost as well. Though I have to say I'm starting to doubt myself now. Moggy also says seen it working and looks amazing. Richard Morgan says best bit of kit ever. A lot of people are really very impressed by it, aren't they? Yeah, I mean, I had a look at the Thermomix and I thought this looks so good, but I just I blanched a bit at the cost. So I found the Ninja blender, which does almost as well. I mean, to be honest, one of the reasons I was intrigued by the Thermomix is I thought I could make low carb ice cream. And the Ninja blender, it's not quite the same. It doesn't work quite as well, to be honest. It's all a bit icy and a bit kind of slushy. But because it's so much cheaper, it seems like a cheaper option. How often do you use the Thermomix?
I use it, I've got to be honest, I use my cast iron griddle here, and I use my ceramic frying pan, and I use the Thermomix. Nothing else. Like, really, I use it so much. I even use it as a kettle if I need a kettle. I've got built-in water on tap over there, so I don't really use it now. But before I had that built in, I would use this as a kettle. So it's like literally one device for everything. It's just amazing. And you can put solid frozen sweet potato, for instance, solid in there and blend it. And it comes out as ice cream. Anything.
Really?
And I saw it in demo in Germany.
Wow.
I saw it in demo in Germany at a friend's house. And he made sweet potato. So he put sweet potato in it. He steamed it for 20 minutes. And then he cooled it down with some cold water, threw it in the blender, chucked some ice in it, put some collagen powder in, blended it up, and then you got sweet potato mousse. It's amazing. And it was just like, I've got to have this in my life. So I found it on eBay, a TM6 model, for 850 quid. It was someone's unwanted Christmas present or whatever, you know, the usual story. And yeah, I would spend double that and still have another one. It's been so amazing to make life easy of cooking awesome food. Like literally, I'm washing it 5-6 times a day, and it's very quick to do it.
That's great. Yeah, my mate Richard's on. Hello, Richard. And Richard was a very accomplished chef before changing careers, and he says it makes the best pate in the world. So that sounds pretty awesome as well.
I mean, a lot of professional kitchens actually have them for sauces and things like that. This is, I mean, it's a very good bit of kit. So yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, with this one thing, I wouldn't be a tight ass. Don't buy cheap and buy twice. Buy this because you're going to love it. And everyone I ever encountered that's had one or used one have gone, yeah, it's the best thing ever. And they upgrade to the newest model. It's like the iPhone for kitchen devices, basically.
Wow. Okay, well that is awesome. I'm gonna, so the second item on the agenda was Thermomix versus Ninja. Who wins? I'm going to say that the Thermomix does win. But just be prepared to take out another credit card if you head to their site, because it's punchy prices, as they might say. If anyone's just kind of joining us, we had a slightly abortive start due to my iPhone overheating, but I'm now holding some frozen veg in my left hand and my iPhone and that, and it seems to be working absolutely fine. So maybe that was the problem all along. Tim, okay, next item on the agenda is obviously you organised the Health Optimisation Summit. Very much looking forward to that in September. It's such a brilliant event. Obviously, the first one was last year, and I'm very excited about it. And what's the situation, just before we get onto the item of the agenda, what's the situation with COVID and everything going on? Are you hoping, I know you're kind of planning to go ahead as usual, and it should be absolutely fine. I know you've given people a guarantee on tickets if it does have to be postponed, but hopefully it'll be all right.
Yeah, it should be fine. It's a pretty strong indication that it's going to be fine. We're selling tickets quite well. I mean, actually better than we were doing last year. We've got exhibitor booths selling like crazy, and we've still got 3 months until the event. I mean, it's been 2.5 months since COVID started, with lockdown and stuff, and we got 2.5, 3 months until the event. So I'd like to think we're over halfway through this whole thing. But if the government does put restrictions in place for the venue, then we've got a contingency planned for the end of January.
Good
so
stuff.
I mean, I've thought about it from all angles.
Yeah, good. Well, mate, I really hope. It was such a brilliant event last year, and obviously, you and I kind of forged our friendship going to the Bulletproof conference, didn't we, in LA? And it's not only was it such good fun and making lots of new friends and hanging out with existing friends and extremely social. I always think these events, like the events in LA and the event that you runs, it's really more like a festival than a conference. But we always kind of bemoaned the fact that there wasn't one in the UK as well. So to have this, we're very lucky to have it. I'm very grateful that you've organised it, and I know just how much effort you put into it. So thank you, and I'm really excited, and obviously highly encourage everyone who listens to this to come and say hello. And it's bloody good fun, basically. So
yeah, thanks, mate. Thanks, mate. I mean, it was actually when we got back from LA. From the conference, we sat down and I said, well, there's no community in London. I'm going to start a meetup group. That was the Biohacker London meetup group, which you actually were the first person to speak at and open it for me. That was in the Shard, our very first one, nearly 3 years ago now. And so the idea that we had when we were out having a drink together, a non-alcoholic drink, I've got to add, Was it exogenous ketones that night? I can never remember.
God, yeah, we were buzzing into that. That was like some of the best nights I've ever had in my life.
It's funny. I did a podcast or a live yesterday with Davinia Taylor, sorry.
Yeah.
And they asked me about exogenous ketones. They're like, "What do you think?" And I went, "Well, the first time I did it, both Tony and I, Tony from Zestology, were like, feels like we've done a line of something," and because we were buzzing, and not that we know what doing a line of something's like, of course, exactly. But yeah, and someone then quoted on the comment just said, "I love that you did a line of exogenous ketones." But yeah, so that's where it came from. Is from the meetup really that was brainchilded when we were hanging out, and then the summit came from as a result of us being in LA and that progressing to being at the summit. So you're instrumental in this thing happening as well. So I'm thrilled to hear that, and I saw that you did your live with Davinia Taylor yesterday. I'm sure you had more viewers for that than you have for this, but rest assured you'll have more listeners to this than you did for that, because obviously the main method of consumption will be on the podcast, and we'll hope the audio comes out okay. So the next thing on my list was that I've been partnering on this podcast with Biooptimizers, which has been fantastic, and I've been doing what is snappily entitled Magnesium June, going into Magnesium July, and taking 7 different types of magnesium in one capsule. And I know that you're a fan of it as well. Let's talk about magnesium, because I think I'd like to know what you think of the Biooptimizers magnesium. And also, I think it's particularly important to think about it at this time of year, on a day like today when it is so hot when we're recording this. You really need to think about the minerals that are coming in, don't you? You do. I mean, it's bigger than just magnesium. If you throw in one mineral, you're going to throw out others, because your kidneys doesn't know what to do, because we're not supposed to be taking them in the ratios in a pure form like that. It's supposed to come in with food. But at the end of the day, if you don't throw more in, you're never going to sort a deficiency. So, I like to take a full spectrum mineral like Totem Sport or Kinton Hydration or any one of these things. But sometimes you do need to throw more crap at the wall for some to stick. So I think magnesium, I hear that you only get like 5 to 8% absorption of the stuff that you do supplement anyway, and different types of magnesium have different absorption rates. So citrate is usually the better one, in my opinion, but there's obviously magnesium taurate, bicarbonate, and all these things. So what Biooptimizers have done is they put 6 or 7 types in one supplement, which means that the bioavailability should be, in theory, higher. Some people absorb different types better than others, is my belief, and I believe theirs too. So by taking 7 types of magnesium, you're much more likely to sort a deficiency than just taking one type that you might just be pooping out. So that's why I like it, and I think it's very good. I also use Body Bio magnesium carbonate as well, which I really like, and that resonates with me. But I'm just about to start actually having magnesium intramuscular, so injecting it a few times a week, because I had some last week over in the Harpal Clinic over in St. Paul's, sorry. And I had it IV, and I came up with a nice flush. I felt hot in the face and went all the way from my head down my diaphragm, even down to the prostate. And it showed me that, obviously it helped a deficiency that I didn't realize I had so much. So I think supplementing is good. IV is better. Getting it from your food over a period of time is great, but you do need to fix deficiencies quickly sometimes. I think Biooptimizers is a good one to do that with as a supplement.
Yeah. Absolutely. Have you ever done, I'm sure you have, but, that description, that lovely description of the kind of magnesium intravenous, have you done the IV of magnesium? And in fact, I'm pretty sure I've sat next to you doing an IV of magnesium and vitamin C, and it's just, especially if anyone's watching this has got histamine issues, that is just lovely. It's like a warm bath, which is probably the last thing you want on a hot day, but normally it's really nice.
Yeah, I like vitamin C, high dose, and magnesium 5 milligrams, magnesium sulfate. And obviously with someone that has histamine issues or MTHFR or detoxification issues, the magnesium sulfate is particularly good, because we often have sulfate issues. So it's really interesting. Like, for instance, people that have got mercury problems have often can't have garlic because of the sulfur in it. So I like magnesium sulfate for that reason, actually, because it makes me feel great. So it's an interesting whole interesting set of processes that go together. But for me, vitamin C is my favourite. But
yeah, me too, actually. And I've been trialing, actually, ever since coronavirus kind of all started, liposomal vitamin C. To be honest, I don't really notice much difference between liposomal vitamin C and non-liposomal vitamin C, but it may be that the benefit that it's doing me isn't noticeable. I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, most isn't. I mean, it's not like taking ecstasy or acid or mushrooms or something that you take and you notice it immediately. It's more of a longer term burn. I think when you have it IV, it does flood your system very quickly with something like magnesium. But if you think on an evolutionary perspective, we're not supposed to be able to have magnesium on its own, let alone straight into the vein. That gets straight into the cell very, very quickly. So I do think that things like vitamin C, IV, you can sometimes get the taste in your mouth, which is a nice taste, and it can give you some benefit. But I don't think anything's going to be immediate like some of the illicit or illegal drugs. So I think it's more of a longer term burn, and you know that it's working for you over a longer period.
And it should be emphasised that my podcast and kind of everything I do is all very much about taking, natural stuff, feeling good naturally. I know that's like a big priority for you as well.
Interrupting this podcast for one moment to remind you that it is brought to you by the magnificent Magnesium Breakthrough. If there's one mineral you should be worried about not getting enough of, it is magnesium. Magnesium's the body's master mineral. It's powerful in over 300 critical reactions, including detox, fat metabolism, energy, even digestion. And I, for one, have been taking it for years at night to help me sleep. In fact, if I don't take magnesium, or if I've run out, or if I go on holiday and I forget it or something like that, it's a disaster. I mean, I've really come to rely on it at night. And there's two big problems because magnesium's been largely missing from US soil since the 1950s. So we don't really get it in our food the way that we should. And most supplements only contain one or two forms of magnesium. And that is why I'm excited that I've partnered up in July with Magnesium Breakthrough. I'm taking this myself at the moment, and it's great. It's already sold out a few times through the company that makes it, Biooptimizers. And I'm very excited because it's now back in stock. All 7 forms of this mineral of magnesium are in Magnesium Breakthrough. And if you're in the UK, you can go to biooptimizers.co.uk and use the code Zestology10. That is BIOPTIMIZ ers.co.uk. Use the code Zestology10. Magnesium Breakthrough is the most effective magnesium supplement you're going to find that I've ever tried, certainly. Say goodbye to having to get 7 different bottles of magnesium as well. If you're in North America, go to magbreakthrough.com/Zestology. You will use the code Zestology10 there as well and save up to 40% off select packages. So get on the old magnesium train and enjoy, and let me know how you feel. Back to the show.
Just on that theme of feeling good naturally, one of the things that I've been trying out, which I know that I think you've dabbled with it in the past, and certainly our mutual friend Richard Blake is a big fan of, is L-theanine with coffee. What lovely! I mean, that is just, if you just want a natural supplement to take with your coffee for a lovely, relaxed, focused vibe in the morning. It is I might even do it after this, actually. It's such a big treat. Have you done that?
Yeah, I have done, but not for a long time. I think it was around the time that I first heard you talk about it that I did it, actually. Probably about 18 months ago, I think.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm trying to minimize supplements to not be reliant on so many. I like testing them out and seeing, so I can talk about them and see if they benefit me. And it's a matter of trying lots of different things to see what works for you. I'm trying to minimize it. I mean, I keep the core ones, which is obviously trimethylglycine, which is my go-to. I'm using phospholipids at the moment, which actually I have been for quite some time. And that's all about cellular health and fixing the cell membrane. That's a big favorite for me. Body Bio do a great one of that, or you can get good IV ones as well. Oh, I think the garden's arrived.
Don't worry. Honestly, I've already had my phone overheating. I've got ice in my hand trying to cool it down. I've had Amazon deliveries at the same time. Susanna says it stops you getting the jitters, L-theanine. It is lovely, I must say. And Susanna also asked, how do you find out about the mercury? Oh, big topic.
Yeah. So, well, the mercury, you can get hair mineral analysis tests done to see how much mercury you've got that you're excreting in your hair. Sometimes people who are mercury toxic don't excrete metals, they hold on to it. So the hair mineral analysis test can show that you haven't got any, but you have. So they need to be looked at by a proper practitioner. That's one. There's also the test.
Just on that, mate. Sorry to interrupt. I just had a really funny thought of when we were both in LA. Do you remember I got that mercury test? And that doctor said, "Don't worry, it's just a little hair sample." And he chopped this massive lump out of the back. It looked like a proper lockdown haircut afterwards.
Oh man, yeah. So Quicksilver Scientific do a good one as well, which is the test. There's also an intercellular one, so it's called the NutriEval by Genova, and they look on a cellular level to see how much mercury you've got in the cells, which is good. But there's the hair mineral analysis test I recommend is actually with Omnos, OMNOS.
Yeah.
Thomas over there is a great guy, and what you can do is you can order the envirotoxins test with them, which means that you don't need a practitioner to order it like you do with a lot of other tests. And then when the data comes in, it goes into their dashboard, so you can track your health over a period of time. And then you get a practitioner that can guide you through it as well if you like. So that's Omnos. They're actually exhibiting at the summit. I invited them. In fact, I begged them to exhibit because it's a brand I believe in so much.
Yeah.
I did the stool test and the urine test and the hair test recently. So it goes into their platform, and they're going to upload all of my previous data over the last 5 years into their platform, so I can track historically as well, opposed to having a pile of books this big of printouts.
That's very cool.
So yeah, if you don't know Thomas, or if you haven't done anything with him, I'm happy to introduce you to him.
Yeah, no, actually, weirdly enough, I spoke to him this morning, so it's great. It's great. Loved it, and I am going to be doing some stuff with him. So I haven't yet, but
good.
Just the way that they've set up their platform, the user experience is very much more impressive than most people in this space. So
yeah.
Just to finish this on supplements then. Biohacked Mama says, I love Bioptimizers, and says vitamin C high doses magic. Just on the Mag Breakthrough, we are giving away 3 bottles of that, and you can be anywhere in the world for that. And just like my last post on Instagram, it's me and Tim sitting outside the Bulletproof coffee shop and me beating him at chess. So
kicking my ass at chess.
So the final item on the agenda, Tim, was a little kind of guided tour of your favourite 1 or 2 things that you've got in your biohacker's lair there. I know you've got a lot of stuff, and it's always a lot of fun following your posts and seeing what you're experimenting with and trying out. And I wonder if there's anything in particular that you're especially excited about at the moment. If your internet connection is good enough, because I know Virgin Media is down today, perhaps you could show us 1 or 2 things that are really exciting you at the moment.
I'm a biohacker, dude. I've got a modem spare, which I can stick a SIM card in out of my iPad and get Wi-Fi even when Virgin Home isn't working. So
that's a good one. That's great, because I need that for our little shed out the back.
Yeah. So you get the modem off of Amazon for 40 quid, and then you get a SIM card from EE or Vodafone as a £5 bolt on a month. You get 100 gig of data. Boom. You're welcome.
Lovely.
So my favourite biohack at the moment is this.
Okay. The standing desk?
Yeah, standing desk. A holder for my phone for lives, and then obviously I do Zooms on there. Obviously standing, so it's actually higher than the desk itself, but earthing mat, so that I'm earthed out all day, every day. And then here is an earthing mouse mat as well. So when I'm on my balance board, so I'm not just standing still all day long, I'm literally balancing like that, and I still am earthed out on my earthing mat here. So that's my favorite biohack at the moment. Now, obviously, there's glass roof, and I'm very fortunate to be here in this home for the summer. And then, so this is my setup, so I can just work here all day, every day. And then I've got colleagues in the garden, excuse them, but I've got my trampoline. So when I wake up in the morning, I get my bulletproof coffee, I sit on the grass there, I drink my bulletproof coffee, read my book, jump on the trampoline for lymphatic massage or drainage, and then come back through and work here at the standing desk. So that's really implemented into my life, so I have to trip over the things so that I make sure that I'm doing it all day, every day.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. So that's actually my favorite biohack at the moment.
That's proper James Clear atomic habits. Make it easy and incorporate it into part of your existing habits, so it's just second nature. Yeah. That's very good.
So when I come out of the kitchen, there's the chin-up bar. So that I trip over that as I leave. But then here's my lounge. So feet up. So this is for inversion, basically. So you can do yoga on it upside down, which is really nice. Obviously the weights, my Carol bike, pride and place, looking out over to the garden. Obviously Carol being a high intensity exercise bike, which is amazing.
And they'll be
foam rollers laid out. Yeah, Carol are exhibiting like Omnos are, so you can meet both of those guys. And then we've got foam rollers, so I'm working on my posture at the moment. So I lie down on that and roll it down my spine, starting with my lower back all the way up to my shoulders, which is helping my posture become more upright when in combination with my standing desk instead of sitting slouched all day. Here's the fun stuff. Number one, my red light rising stack. Number two, my earthing mat. So I'm earthed out when doing that because the EMFs are quite high. Here's my Soma Vedic EMF harmonizer, which they're exhibiting at the summit as well. My X3 bar here, which is elastic band strike, kind of like workout. So you can do things like this with it. So yeah, it goes over your shoulders, so you can do workout at home. So this is what the X3 bar's like. I've got a flex beam red light, portable red light thing. So this is like the next generation of red light therapy, really. So you can wrap it around joints like this to heal. Or if I can do a selfie like that. And then finally, my hyperbaric chamber.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah, and then obviously there, so I've got oxygen concentrator here, and then the condenser here, which puts the pressure in. And then this is actually really big when you go inside, really big. It looks tiny on the outside, but it's huge. So yeah, so that's so I can have my daily dose of hyperbaric oxygen therapy.
That's awesome, mate. That's what a lovely place you've got as well. Lovely and light and airy. I'll just on the theme of what you've been going through, there's a few comments. Omnos have just joined, by the way, so their ears were obviously burning. And if they back to the replay or to the podcast, you'll hear about how we've been loving your work.
What are you talking about? We were slagging Thomas and Omnos off. But no. Tom, yeah, we love you, Thomas.
Leanne and a few others are kind of talking about which earthing mat. Groundology has been mentioned. Not sure. Is that the one that you would recommend?
Yeah, Groundology have a really good range. So they're UK based, whereas there's earthing.com that Clint Ober, who is speaking at the summit, he's the father of the grounding movement. Groundology is the UK retailer. Earthing.com is the US manufacturer. So either of those two are good. It's pretty basic stuff, kind of like a rubber graphite based mat. You can get nice yoga mats and things like that. I've got bed sheets, grounding bed sheets and pillowcases and a wrist strap for when I go traveling as well. So yeah.
Good stuff. And yet just one more, maybe two more. Emma says, what is the glucose test you put on your arm?
Where is it? It's here somewhere. Funny. Oh yeah. So I'll show you what it is. These are my travel sups. I'm going to Germany tomorrow. So look, there's trimethylglycine ready.
You use the Jarrow one, do you? Okay.
Well, no, just for traveling. I actually have powder that I use in my amino stack in the morning. So I don't like supplements with any fillers or any crap in. So I try to buy the pure powder when I can, which is which is the crystals. So it's like crystal trimethylglycine. And that goes in with my creatine. But for my glucose monitor, I've got the Freestyle Libra constant glucose monitor, which then clicks on my arm. And I did a post on my wall about 2 weeks ago showing how to put it on, and also a reshare of my friend Dominic Nitschwitz's post about constant glucose monitors as well. So if you're listening to this and you want to know about seeing how your body responds to particular foods and how to track it, check out my feed, and you'll see the Freestyle Libra talked about in detail there.
Oh, great. Mate, listen, this is a kind of a joint Instagram live and a podcast. So obviously a question, you've been on my podcast before. The first one was ages ago, wasn't it? At the hyperbaric oxygen business that you used to run. But what is one book that you would recommend then? And one tip for living with more energy and vitality? And it might be ones that are kind of your favourite ever book, your favourite ever tip, or it might be just something you're excited about at the moment.
I read a lot, so it's very, very difficult question. Wow. I've just read The Oxygen Advantage, actually, which I would recommend, really recommend. Patrick McGowan, if you haven't had him on your podcast yet, get him on. Definitely. Okay. So it's essentially, I'll give you a rough overview. It's like most people are mouth breathing. They don't realize that they're mouth breathing. And when you sleep at night, they breathe through their mouth, which means they wake up with a dry mouth. They're dehydrated, which means they need to drink more. Whereas our nose is designed to breathe, not our mouth. And the more we breathe, the more we need oxygen, the less efficient we are. Now, some of the best athletes actually use less oxygen and can hold their breath significantly longer because they can deal with the carbon dioxide better. So if you do mouth taping when you sleep to stop you breathing through your mouth by default, and when you exercise you only use your nose, and you learn to hold your breath better when running, the carbon dioxide levels, so basically carbon dioxide helps oxygen get into your cells. So if you've got low carbon dioxide, oxygen won't necessarily get into the cell as efficiently. So it sounds like it's a contradiction, but if you can hold your breath longer, carbon dioxide levels go up, more oxygen goes into your cell, and you become more efficient with breathing. So by doing the right breathing exercises, and that doesn't necessarily mean just hyperventilating, it means actually learning to hold your breath for longer, you can deal with carbon dioxide better and get more oxygen into your cell with less breathing. And so people with a high heart rate and a low heart rate variability can actually improve their heart health significantly, because if they breathe better and more efficiently, their heart doesn't have to work so hard pumping blood around. Therefore, their heart rate suddenly comes down. It's really great. So I notice if I have hyperbaric oxygen before I go to bed, my heart rate comes down significantly because it doesn't have to work so hard because it's got a lot more cellular oxygen. Wow. So hyperbaric oxygen is a hack so that you don't have to learn to breathe properly, but realistically, so it's accessible to everyone. Learn to breathe properly. Don't breathe through your mouth. When you're running and you see yourself panting like that, you want to do it through the nose. So Oxygen Advantage, top notch. And like anyone that gets headaches or fatigue or dry mouth or dehydrated and things like that would really benefit from doing that. And I think you should get him on the podcast, in all honesty.
Yeah, I will. And Lynn's has just messaged and said just about to do his training, so good coincidence.
Oh, nice one.
That was kind of a book and a tip, really, wasn't it?
Sorry?
That was a book and a tip, really, wasn't it?
Yeah. Stacking biohacks.
Lovely. Mate, looks really nice to see you. Let's do this in person. Will you bring me some collagen sweet potato mousse when we do?
Yeah, of course. Well, actually, I'll bring the bits and then we use your Thermomix.
Wow, yeah. That mine Ninja, 18 times cheaper.
Make it happen. Go on.
We'll see. So you're off to Germany tomorrow, are you?
Yeah. I'm going to see a speaker friend and have some dental surgery done. With Dr. Dominic Nichwitz. So yeah.
I know the dental stuff has been a big part of the puzzle for you, isn't it?
Yeah, big time. It's been one of my hardest things to deal with, but I mean, I've learned a lot of cool stuff and helped a lot of people as a result of the things I've applied to myself. So I'm grateful for my journey. It's been tough at times, but I'm grateful for it. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today, and I absolutely love what I'm doing.
Absolutely, and mate, I am grateful for it as well. Having the Health Optimization Summit in this country, and where can people get involved with tickets if they want to get involved? Where can people find out more about it? And hopefully we can see them there in September.
Yeah, so Health Optimization Summit, the website is healthoptimization.com with an S because we're British, or healthoptimization.summit.com. You can keep up to date with us on Health Optimization Summit on Instagram, which is where we're most active, and follow my journey with all the hacks and tips and tricks that I do and get up to as well. Tickets at the moment are on early bird. They're just about to go up. I think they're $299, something like that, and they will go up to $399 very soon. So, and that's a steal at that price, in all honesty, because it's such a big event. I mean, it's Europe's biggest health event in terms of, and we've got the biggest lineup globally, pretty much now. So it's all about the tribe and learning loads of cool stuff. Some things are free biohacks, some things are expensive biohacks, and some things are just fun biohacks. But it's all with the goal of optimizing your health, relationships, longevity, mindset, the lot. It's really, really cool. So yeah.
So it is, mate. I wholeheartedly endorse that. That's really awesome, mate. And well, look, good luck in Germany. And
thank you, mate.
I'll obviously hopefully see you in London fairly soon. All the rules are changing, so we're actually allowed to now without breaking the law, which is very exciting. Thank you to everyone for watching this, and I know a lot more people will listen. I really hope that there's not a kind of annoying rustling sound of frozen vegetables in the background all the time. But that was because I've done a few Instagram lives now, and it's always my phone. It's a bit of an old phone. But my phone always goes a bit haywire after about 10, 15 minutes. And I realise now it's just getting too hot and I need the frozen vegetables on it. So that's a hack in itself, isn't it?
But the beautiful thing is, Tony, one of the things from before we knew each other I loved about your podcast was it's so real and raw. And I'm sure that everyone that listens will agree. It's little things like that, just saying, I'm just taking a walk down the road on the way to the park just to chill out before blah, 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 blah. And now I've got some vegetables calling down my phone. Like, this is part of who you are and what makes the podcast so awesome, dude. So, and I think everyone will agree. And I can say that unbiased because I didn't know you at one point and thought that. So yeah. So anyway, anyone that wants to follow, just check me out on Tim Biohacker on Instagram, because I realised that I didn't say that bit for people that are listening on your podcast opposed to watching on Instagram. So it'd be really cool.
That'd be the majority, and thank you for those kind words as well. It's funny, when I started doing the podcast intros, walking around out and about in front, instead of previously it was in front of notes on the computer. And I just felt much more natural. It was much more me doing out and about because I couldn't rely on looking at a screen with notes. And so I just carried on doing that, really.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's good. It's really, really cool.
Beautiful. Good to talk to you, mate.
Yeah, nice to see you, mate.
Thanks to Tim. Do get involved in the Health Optimization Summit because I will be there, COVID allowing, and I can't wait to meet you there as well. It was such good fun last year. I need to remember to take that weekend off work as well, actually. It'll be good fun, and I'd love to see you there. And you can head to the Health Optimization Summit website and sign up for that. And remember to get involved in Magnesium Breakthrough as well. If you're in North America, you can go to magbreakthrough.com/zestology. Use the coupon code zestology10. Tim uses it, I use it as well. They are my podcast partners for July. I'm very proud to be partnering, and in fact June went so well that we've done it all over again in July as well with this product, and I know it's one of their best sellers at the moment, and I think it's an excellent product for summer when we're a little bit more achy and we might be sweating a little bit more and we're losing a few more minerals. It's a good product for summer. So magbreakthrough.com/zestology, and if you're in the UK, you will not be left out either, because you can go to biooptimizers.co.uk/zest, just biooptimizers.co.uk actually, and use the code Zestology10. It's getting a bit windy down here by the Thames, so I've kind of peeled off now, and I'm going to head back. But thanks for listening to this podcast. Do head to TonyWrighton.com if you want my 3 Zesty Things newsletter. I've got a hacks episode coming up very soon. I've also got a breathing expert next week, James Nestor. He's an excellent interviewee. And I've been speaking quite a bit about breathing recently, haven't I? And there's a good reason for that, as you'll hear next week with James Nestor, who had a life-threatening incident that led him. He's an investigative journalist. He's written all sorts of books on interesting different things, and he's now turned his attention to writing about the breath. Okay, thanks for listening. Enjoy your Magnesium Breakthrough this week, and I'll see you next time.